Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Shellstad takes it to the left elbow, bounce pass to Kusnard. Kusnard, power hop into the middle of the lane. Misses a wild shot. Rebound on the floor. Rigsby puts it up. No good. Ball tipped in. No. Out to Kusnard. Fakes. 3 seconds to play into the middle of the lane. Passes to Dante. He dunks and scores. Timeout, Oregon State. Dante dunks. 60-58 Oregon. Oregon wins in Corvallis. 60-58 Ducks down the Beavs and Gill. Just how they drew it up. Am I right? 2 offensive rebounds, and I didn't even realize it until I watched the playback and heard myself call it again, that there was actually a tip-in before it ended up with Jermaine Kusnard that didn't go. Then they found Dante, they meaning Jermaine Kusnard, found and volley Dante. And next thing you know, the Ducks get a Dante dunk to win the game. Just how you drew it up in Corvallis. You know, as a broadcaster, I sit back and I listen to myself call that and I go, God, what happened? Because so many things happen around the basket. And, you know, look, broadcaster critique here. I'm sitting here going like, gosh, like if that tip-in had gone in, would I have been that excited? Because it's like, oh, God, they got it in. Like, they made it happen. I'm Joey Mack, by the way. Hi, everybody. Here on a Monday because Ryan Milano is still on an airplane with Oregon baseball. That's right. Ryan made the trip with Duck baseball opening weekend. So far, Ryan, as one of the voices of the baseball team, is 2-1. Not a bad start, Milano. Not a bad start. But I got a bone to pick here, all right? Because Knight Ureski was with Oregon softball all weekend. Knight's here today. Knight made it back. So, you know, Milano, like you couldn't get on an airplane from Texas to get back to Eugene today. And Knight found a way to get back from a trip with Duck softball. He's going to be on an airplane with Oregon softball again on Wednesday to go to Cathedral City. But you're leaving Thursday? I thought that there were games happening Thursday. 6 a.m. on Thursday. Oh, my gosh. Okay, well, I know the softball team is traveling Wednesday. Knight is on an airplane Thursday morning getting to Cathedral City to call Duck softball Thursday. So, look, I'm just saying, I know San Diego is geographically closer. That's where Knight was. But in a moment, we're going to have Knight on. We're going to talk basketball first, but I just want everyone to know that in Diamond Sports, Knight made it back on a Monday. Bravo. Yeah, well done. Yep, that's good. We're going to talk with Knight coming up. So, a lot to recap. Men's basketball, women's basketball, the Diamond Sports, Oregon lacrosse. I'm going to say this again. Jess Drummond has a 1,000 career winning percentage. That's right. Oregon lacrosse 2-0 to start the season. Men's tennis had some drama this weekend at the Student Tennis Center, but Nil Schielander's team got it done. The Ducks have been really good so far this season. Women's tennis, a couple wins out in Boise. We'll talk about that. And then this week, some sports get rolling, including beach volleyball. Also in action today, it's President's Day, in the Prestige. And I will challenge you. I understand that the marquee name for an athletics event is the Masters. Seriously, like, is there a better name for a marquee sporting event than the Masters? I know, like, Super Bowl, okay. But, like, the World Series, I don't know. There's only 2 countries that have teams that are in the World Series. Look, the World Cup, yeah, all right. But the Masters, like, there's something about it. And so here's why I bring that up. In collegiate golf, is there a better name for a tournament than the Prestige? That's what men's golf is playing in right now. They're in La Quinta, California at the Prestige. Great movie, by the way. A very underrated Christopher Nolan movie with Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman. One of my favorites. I won't tell you the twist at the end. Has Knight seen it? You haven't seen The Prestige? Oh, gosh. Oh. You just watched the Batman trilogy? You know, you have a microphone that you can put on. Like, that is a thing.
So I just literally watched the entire Batman trilogy.
Had you never seen it before?
Well, I had seen it, like, when I was, like, in middle school, like, very, very young. Because it came out when I was, like, so 2008 was, like, The Dark Knight. So I was 6 years old. So, like, that's when I watched it. So then I just watched it, and it was great.
So 2008, let's see. When I saw that movie in theaters, I got to do math. That's hard. I was 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 15. Okay.
See, Batman Begins was 2005. I was 3 years old. So, like,
That's awesome.
I watched it, like, when I was
That's
a kid.
awesome.
But, like, now, like, as an adult, like,
you can enjoy it more.
Great movies. Very,
okay.
very good.
Well, anyway, we've gone on a complete tangent here. But The Prestige, I will seriously, like, is there a better name? Like, the NCAA championships. All right, you know what that is. I get it, World Cup, World Series. But I'm telling you, like, the Masters. It just rolls off the tongue in golf. And I understand that there's an amateur master. Some of the women's golfers are playing in it from here at Oregon, like Derek Radley's Ducks. But the Prestige. Every time Casey Martin's team plays in this tournament, I'm like, dang, that's a good name. Gosh, that's a good name. They're in action today. But, yeah, beach volleyball starting up this weekend coming up. And then both men's and women's basketball are on the road. We'll tell you a little bit more about that. Indoor track and field up in Seattle, they're on the road this weekend as well before nationals, conference titles. It comes up quick for indoor track and field. But men's basketball, a good start for the Ducks. Got out to a 13-point lead. I remember Terry John said this to me one time. And I never forgot it. You always want to beat your rivals. And when you're a voice of the Ducks, you know, I've been fortunate to call some games where Oregon has beaten rivals in my career. Broadcaster sounds good when the team's good. Well, Terry told me that there's just no better feeling than walking out of Gill Coliseum with a win. I don't know why. Like, walking out of Reeser with a win is great. Walking out of Goss with a win is great. Knight, what's the name of their softball facility? I can't remember.
I don't know. I've never broadcast there.
Will you this year?
No, this year.
Oh, you won't. Okay. All right. So
thankfully, last year it like poured the entire series in Corvallis.
I did a series. I did a softball series in Corvallis when I was in college. When I was in Knight's position, and I did it from the roof of the press box. I think it's just the OSU softball complex. The point that I'm making is, I don't know what it is.
Kelly Field.
Okay. Sorry. The point that I'm making is, for some reason, there isn't a better feeling than walking out of Gill Coliseum with a win. Maybe it's, truthfully, I actually really like Gill Coliseum. It's got an old feeling to it. It's kind of like a larger high school gym. I dig that. Matthew Knight Arena is infinitely better, don't get me wrong, but there's something about going to Gill Coliseum and like it just, you win there and it's like, man, that's nice. Last year Ducks won by 2. Rivaldo Soares hit a game winner. I went bananas. This year it ends up on a third offensive rebound that N'Faly Dante ends up with a game-winning dunk. Getting a Dante dunk at the buzzer, like, well, at least almost at the buzzer, like, it was pretty much at the buzzer. Like, they had to throw a half-court shot. Mariel didn't even really get it off. Like, Terry told me that once. It was like my first year doing basketball, I think. And Terry just said, Joey, there's no better feeling than walking out of Gill Coliseum with a win. And I got to tell you, there was no better feeling than walking out of Gill Coliseum on Saturday. That was a good time. And look, I understand that there's a lot of people, including Coach Altman, that are like, the Ducks need to get better. The Ducks need to improve. And that's true. And, in fact, you're going to hear Coach Altman say that exact thing here coming up in a little while. But they found a way. Does Oregon men's basketball still have a chance to make March Madness without having to win the Pac-12 tournament? A chance? Yeah. We'll talk about that coming up. Postseason resume. I want to talk about this game a little bit more. So the Ducks do need to finish games better. The last few weeks, I think there's a lot of reasons for it. They've made some mistakes in critical moments. The USC game got closer than it needed to be. I think it's safe to say the Washington State game was closer than it needed to be at times. Washington State won the game. The Washington game was closer than it needed to be. I still have high blood pressure from a couple weeks ago against the Huskies. This game against Oregon State maybe was closer than it needed to be. Ducks didn't score for over 5 minutes in the game in the second half. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. One, they've made some mistakes, as Coach Altman will say. But two, the rotation is still very short. And I cannot help but think, just as an amateur, I'm not even an analyst, as an amateur sports viewer that I am, I can't help but think when you've got 7-8 guys in a rotation, the Ducks have been so banged up that when you go through the course of a game, Coach Altman has said this, they want to substitute differently around the timeouts. All of that is true. And the Ducks need to, with all that being the case, and maybe I just made a bunch of excuses and Coach Altman's going to tell me, Joey, don't ever do that again. It's a fact that the Ducks have to finish games better. I thought they did a better job, though, controlling the game in the second half. So what do I mean by that? There was one example and it was during Oregon's scoring drought, early on in that scoring drought, where Jadrian Bam Tracy had an open three with 22 seconds on the shot clock from the left wing. He faked it, and he didn't take it. Well, I thought in the moment that was good situational awareness. Coach Altman's talked about that. Like, you don't want to take quick shots when you're up double digits trying to let that clock run. And particularly on the road, you don't want to let the Beavs back into it. So there's two things here. One, you have an open shot. Do you try to stomp down on your opposition? I've heard coaches say that. I've heard fans say that. I've heard players say that. But I think the situational awareness, to me, that was like, you know what? Oregon got better. The Ducks improved because Coach Altman said situational awareness. You can't get trapped on the sideline. You can't turn it over. All that, right? But I really felt like that was a moment that Oregon got better. They ran clock. They took pretty good shots for the most part. In fact, I thought Oregon's shot selection at Gill was really good. The Ducks just didn't hit them. It happens. And so how many times have we heard Coach Altman say, in 30 games, there's going to be 10 where you shoot the lights out, there's going to be 10 where you shoot average, and then there's going to be 10 where you can't hit water if you fell out of a boat. Well, this was one where the Ducks couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. The three-point percentages in this game were actually crazy. Ducks were 2 of 19. 2 of 19 from 3. 11%. Now, the good news, the Beavs were 2 of 18 from 3. Also, somehow maths out to 11%. Journalism majors can't do math. But the Ducks were not great from beyond the arc. They were 6 of 10 at the free throw line. Probably could have put it away at the free throw line a little better, which they've been much better in conference games shooting free throws. I thought, though, the shot selection was good. They just didn't go in. And so if you had a team that was fully healthy, and say we're sitting here and we're talking about an Oregon team that isn't, at 17-8, 9-5. Maybe we're talking about a team that's 20-5 and they're, 11-3, whatever the record might be. If the Ducks had that record and found a way to win on the road on a night where they shot 11% from 3, wouldn't all of us sit here and go like, hey, sometimes, man, you just got to find a way to win? But the truth is that Oregon isn't that team right now. The Ducks are 17-8 and they're 9-5 in Pac-12 play, still fighting for a first-round bye in the Pac-12 tournament, which I think has become even more critical than it is in a normal season. It's very difficult. There's not very many teams that do this across the country where they don't get that first-round bye in their conference tournament and then they go win the thing. The Ducks have done it once, but it was really difficult. And it took an Ehab Amin corner 3 to make it happen against Arizona State. And then the Ducks just, for whatever reason, were Washington's kryptonite that year. Huskies were the 1 seed. Ducks ended up winning it in Vegas. This team could do that. But when you've only got 7, 8 guys, and Coach Altman has said this a number of times this year, that when you play on Thursday and Saturday, like you do in the Pac-12, it's really, really difficult on your depth. It's really tough on that rotation. It's even harder when you have to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Ducks would have to win 3 in a row. 4 in a row, much taller task. Got to find a way to get that first round bye. Ducks are doing that. Offensive rebounds were a key in this game. A lot of second chance points. So Oregon was actually plus 10 rebounding the basketball. If I told you the Ducks were plus 10 on the boards and they were plus 6 on the offensive glass and plus 8 in second chance points, you'd say, yeah, Oregon probably won that game pretty handily. All of those numbers were true, and the Ducks won by 2 points. Basketball's weird, man. Sometimes it works out that way. Dante is really good at basketball. I'm running out of ways to ask Coach Altman this. In fact, you can make fun of me because you're going to hear my post-game conversation with Coach Altman coming up here in a little while. I was basically just like, Coach, Dante, here's the microphone. I mean, he scores 22 points. He does it on 9 of 13 from the floor, 4 of 7 at the free throw line. I'm sure he'd tell you he'd like to hit a few more of those. But he had 6 rebounds. The oddity is that he had 0 assists. That surprised me, actually, at the end of the game. Oregon only had 9 assists as a team, and that's just because the buckets weren't going in. I can think of at least 3 where Dante had a nice kick out, and it was a good look, and it just didn't go. It happens. But here was maybe the biggest key to the whole thing. And N'Faly Dante is really good at basketball, and he had those numbers in 30 minutes of play. Coach Altman said on the Toyota Coach's Corner pregame, he wanted Mo Diawara to play 10 minutes. You know how many minutes Mo Diawara played against the Beavs in Corvallis? 10 minutes! Now, Jackson Shellstad still played 35, and Jermaine Couisnard played 36. They'd like to, I think, get Cario Oquindo, Brennan Rigsby off the bench to play more than 14 and 24 minutes, respectively. And Brennan was 0 of 6 from the floor. Cario was 0 of 3, which brings me to a box score oddity, and I want to ask the masses here how often you've seen this, because the minute distribution was great, but the bench points, there were no bench points scored for either team. Every single point was scored by the starting lineup. I've been calling basketball games at Oregon for, what is this, Scott, 7 years? Is this my 7th year? I don't think I've ever seen 0 bench points on both sides. Exactly. Like Knight just said, both sides. Seriously, those of you who are live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, like, have you ever seen 0 bench points? I haven't. That was a box score oddity for me. Really an oddity. You know, I probably should have led with this. So Coach Altman with the win here in Corvallis, a rivalry win, never going to take that for granted. Dana Altman has now clinched his 26th. I'm going to start over. Dana Altman has now clinched his 26th consecutive winning season as a head coach. 26 straight years with a winning record. Guys, I'm 31 years old. 26 years of my life, consistently, Coach Altman has had a winning record as a head coach. Coach Altman has had a winning record as a head coach longer than Knight Urezki has been on this earth. Like, what? I feel like I actually don't say that enough on the pregame show. Really. I don't know that I bring that up enough. 6th straight win versus Oregon State. It's the longest winning streak against the Beavs since the Ducks won 9 straight from 99 to 03. The last loss against the Beavers was in the 2021 Pac-12 tournament, and the Ducks are now 3-0 in games decided by 3 points or fewer this year. And they're 6-1 in games decided by 5 points or fewer. The Ducks have won those close ones. It's been the ones where they can't come back from that double-digit separation. Scored 24 points in the second half, which is the fewest points in any half this season. And Oregon won the game! Anyway, the Ducks are now allowing 67.2 points per game in their 17 wins, and they're allowing 82 points per game in their 8 losses. It's not a complicated game. You play good defense. Defense tends to travel. You're going to shoot it well 10 times. You're not going to shoot it well 10 times, and you're going to shoot it average 10 times. The key is to win those games where you shoot it average and to win those games where you don't shoot it well. Ducks won a game where they didn't shoot it well, and I thought they did it with defense. There you go. Wow, that was a way longer opening segment than I thought it would be. I haven't done the show on a Monday in a while. It's weird for me. Yeah, anyway, quick timeout. When we come back, a guy who has had a winning record in 26 consecutive seasons as a head coach. We're going to talk with Coach Altman after this. Stuck Insider. Happy Monday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack at the Country Financial Studio. I'm glad that a few people in the comment section have said, like, yeah, I've never seen that before with two teams that don't have bench points. Yeah, that was an odd one for me. Yeah, weird. Anyway, let's hear from Coach Altman. Anytime we talk with a head coach, it's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. So I talked with Coach Altman on the postgame show, and I think you can just – look, you're going to hear it in his voice. You find a way. Find a way. Talking with Coach Altman on the postgame show here from Saturday. Coach Altman out to join us. And Coach, I just said it. You find a way to win on the road, don't you?
Well, we'll take the win. Just disappointed in our fundamentals. Made way too many mistakes. Don't block out. They get a easy basket. Bam, fouls. He doesn't block out. And then the next possession, he gives them a 4-point play. Jermaine fouls 94 feet from the basket. Dante doesn't block out. 3-point play. I mean, those two runs there, 9 points. And they were just fundamental mistakes, which made the game a lot closer than it needed to be. And then some of our offensive possessions, guys were a little hesitant, not in the right spots. And then we couldn't hit a shot. But they didn't either. I mean, it was on a night where both teams can't hit a three to save their life. They had some good looks. We had some really good looks. I mean, I'm going over the 18 threes we had, and I'm thinking, man, a couple of them might have been, but most of them were pretty good looks. And so on a night you don't shoot it well and don't give yourself an opportunity there, we found a way. And so it is what it is. We'll take it. We needed it. Road wins are tough. And they're 11-4 here. They're 11-4. They've beat Arizona. They've beat some good teams. So we knew it was going to be tough. They play really well at home, and we just found a way to win. So again, I'll take the win. I had on the board find a way, and we found a way. But again, we had that 10-point lead there. We got to get stops and rebounds. We got to execute a little better offensively, and then, like I said, just 2 or 3 possessions really flipped the game.
Prior to those 2 or 3, Coach, I actually was thinking, you and I talked about that situational awareness this week. You were running clock a little better there for a while.
I thought we got some good looks, and Dante didn't take that one up strong. That should have been a bucket and one. And, so, yeah, we had some good looks, didn't finish them.
The final sequence, Coach. I said offensive rebounds were a key in the game, and you got a couple there that led to the game-winning bucket. Take fans through it. What'd you see?
Well, we did a really good job the first half. We had 12 points offensive rebound. Second half, it was even. They got 8 points. We, got 8 points or 6 points each. So we didn't get that advantage that we did in the first half. We were up 12 boards at half, and like I said, 12-4 second chance points. But the last one, Brennan got one, and can't remember who got the second one and dished it to Dante. So, we found a way. And again, it's February, you got to, but we got to get better. I mean, if we're going to beat the good teams, and I don't want to take anything away from Wayne and his team because they battled their tails off, and Wayne does a tremendous job. I don't want to take anything away from them, but we've got to get better. We've got older guys making mistakes there. Bam, Jackson catching it right in the corner there. I mean, it's February 17th. We got to clean things up, and that's my job, and I got to do a better job.
Dante scores 22 for you, Coach. Just another night where Dante showed how good he could be. I said on the broadcast it felt almost methodical with him scoring 22 for you here tonight.
Well, you take away his turnovers, and he really played well. I thought defensively, he got a couple blocks. He did some really good things, but, really bad turnovers. He, had 2 in the first half and 1 in the second, and, he's too experienced of a player for that. Oregon State, most people beat them because they turn it over, and we had more turnovers than they had. Points off turnovers, it was 13-5, which we went in the game thinking that was going to be our strength, and Bam had really bad ones. Like I said, Dante's 3 were bad. We tried some things that we just didn't need to try.
All that said, Coach, how about the minute distribution? You said you wanted to play Mo 10. You wanted to shave a few off Dante. You hit Mo right on 10. You got Dante at 30. What did you like your rotation
but I didn't
better?
do much for Jackson or Jermaine. They 35 each. But, we just had to try to do something. But we didn't finish. I thought it'd give us a little more energy to finish, and I'm not sure it did that. But we did find a way, and that's the important thing.
Finding a way, Coach. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Congrats on the win.
All righty. Thanks.
I told myself before he sat down, that's Coach Altman talking on the postgame show. I told myself before he sat down I wanted to ask him if he had ever seen the bench point anomaly, and I forgot. And then after the postgame show ended, I was like, I'm going to go ask him. I forgot. I haven't seen him yet this week. So I will ask him today, or I will ask him tomorrow. Find a way. Look, right? That's what you do. So earlier I was asked, what does this do for Oregon and the postseason resume? Well, let's start maybe with the Pac-12 standings, okay? So the Pac-12 standings are well, let's just say that Washington State game is going to sting, right? Because Arizona's at 11-3, leading the league, and Washington State's 11-4, and it's very possible that the Ducks could be 11-4 and Washington State could be 10-5. But what's the phrase? You can't cry over the spilled milk, I guess. Well, you can't cry over the close loss that you had. Now you got to move on and hope the Washington State maybe Maybe they lose a couple and the Ducks can catch them. But Oregon is now 9-5 in third place. UCLA is 9-6. UCLA was surging before the 1-point loss at home to Utah. UCLA had won, 7 straight, I think, and then Utah got them. But UCLA is still sitting at 4th. Then Colorado 8-7, Utah 7-8, ASU 7-8, Stanford 7-8, Cal 7-8. Don't look now, but those 2 Bay Area teams have gotten better as the season's gone on, and that's been a tough place to play for the Ducks. That's coming up this week. Then Washington 6-9, USC 4-11, and then it's Oregon State at 3-12. So it's Arizona, Wazoo, Oregon, UCLA. If the tournament started today, those are the top 4 teams. Ducks are 0-1 against Arizona so far. Get another shot at them. They're 1-1 against the Cougs and dropped that game to UCLA on the road. But the Ducks were able to get UCLA at home. So Oregon's 1-1 against the 2 teams that they are sandwiched between in the Pac-12 standings, 2nd and 4th, Washington State and UCLA. Why do I say all that? Well, I think all of that is important because Dana Altman has talked a lot about how the Ducks go about beating those good teams. Well, now at this point, it's all about maintaining with those good teams. If you stay, you're going to be 1-1 now against the Cougs, 1-1 against UCLA. You have a chance to move to 1-1 against Colorado, who's right behind you. Then it's Arizona. Well, the Ducks still have to play Arizona on the road. If there's one team that's been able to get it done at McHale in the last 12 years, in the Pac-12 era, 13 years, it's been Oregon. It's going to take a lot. Arizona's still a good team, but I think they're beatable. We've seen that. They've dropped some games that they'd like back, and truthfully, I think the Oregon game sort of catapulted them back to where they were earlier in the season. Overall, the Ducks are still in the conversation. Are they in the NCAA tournament if it started today? Probably not. I think Washington State's in. I think Arizona would be in. Huh? I can't hear. Put your microphone on, Knight. Come on.
Why wouldn't they be in? They're a top 25 team.
Yeah, Wazoo's in, no doubt. But in the Pac-12 standings, right? Going down the standings, I think Arizona's in. I think Wazoo's in. Oregon, UCLA, Colorado? I don't know. I really think Oregon, UCLA, Colorado. I would like to think that if you finish 3rd in the Pac-12, you're going to make the NCAA tournament. We'll see. I think that Oregon is still in the conversation. I think that, like any season, it depends on what happens around the bubble. I think that the bid-stealing tournament wins might hurt Oregon. I think that the Ducks have to finish well down the stretch. I thought after losing the UCLA game that if Oregon went undefeated in the month of February after that UCLA loss on the road, and I know that didn't happen because they lost that game to Washington State. But as Washington State keeps winning, that loss looks better. This is the maddening thing about March Madness, because now that you've already lost the game, you're rooting for the team you lost to be better, and then you're hoping that everybody else just holds serve, and then you win and you finish 3rd in the conference. Maybe you finish 2nd in the conference, and you see my point? The bubble can move. See what happens. I think Oregon's going to be in the conversation. If the Ducks keep winning, the Ducks will be in the conversation. Then comes the trip to McHale in a few weeks. If Oregon wins that game, if the Ducks go on a little winning streak here, maybe this is a little bit of green and yellow lenses bias. But if Oregon wins the next 4 games, and they're heading into March 7th against Colorado at home, I would like to think that the Ducks are not just in the conversation. They're probably in the smack dab middle of the conversation. We'll see. But, yeah, I have a feeling that a win over Colorado could mean a whole lot, especially after the Ducks take down Arizona. So, if you beat Arizona, maybe you move up a little bit. Right now, Utah and Colorado are like right on Joe Lunardi's bubble. Like last 4 in, next 4 out kind of a thing. Well, if Oregon ends up beating Colorado at home, beating Utah at home, After what happened on that mountain road trip, you avenge some of those losses against other teams that are on the bubble. You have a big road win. I do think that Oregon can get back into that bubble conversation. I think they're right on the outside of the periphery right now. I think Oregon can get back into that conversation, but they need another big win against Arizona maybe to do it. If the Ducks win out except the Arizona game, yeah, maybe, but it might depend on what happens around the country. Certainly, there's not a lot of room for error. But I think that door is still cracked open. Is that a good description? Is that fair? Knight's nodding his head. Knight pays attention to bracketology. Scott's nodding his head, but he's like smirking as he's doing it, which is usually like, yeah, okay, Joey. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Hey, one more time. N'Faly Dante is really good at basketball, right? N'Faly Dante, like we know he's very good at basketball. I also, though, on the second time that we play a game-winning highlight, how good is this pass from Jermaine Couisnard, by the way? Gelstad takes it to the left elbow, bounce pass to Couisnard. Couisnard, power hop into the middle of the lane. Misses a wild shot. Rebound on the floor. Rigsby puts it up. No good. Ball tipped in. No. Out to Couisnard. Fakes. 3 seconds to play into the middle of the lane. Passes to Dante. He dunks and scores. Timeout, Oregon State. Dante dunks. 60-58 Oregon. Oregon wins in Corvallis. So Jermaine Couisnard took the initial shot that led to the multiple offensive rebounds. First Rigsby, then the tip-in that doesn't go from Dante. Dante holds his position. Ball ends up out to Couisnard again. Couisnard drives, draws the defense, passes it right to Dante. I mean, that's a veteran heads-up hustle play from Jermaine Couisnard. Could have just stayed on the floor after he didn't get the game winner to go. Didn't do that. Got up, ended up back at the top of the key, had the game-winning assist. Ducks are going to need more of that, find a way. And if they keep finding a way, I do think that Oregon, still with bubble teams on their schedule like Utah, Colorado, might be able to eliminate one of those teams. Then eliminate another one of those teams from the bubble. Finish third in the conference. Yeah, there's a chance. We're going to get a break, come back, talk a little bit of women's basketball, and then also baseball's opening weekend. Went 2-1 against some good competition. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio. Women's basketball, it's been some tough road for women's basketball because of so many injuries, a lot of things. I really liked their effort, though, against UCLA, I'll tell you. That's a good team in UCLA, and the Ducks have been on the other side of some of these games, haven't they? This year's been, I feel like, win a couple times. Oregon's gotten the punchback for years of victories. Well, Coach Graves met with the media after a couple losses this weekend to USC and UCLA. Coach Graves breaking it all down for us.
How do you feel about defensive effort and just offensive flow, ball movement?
Well, obviously not our best game in either of those capacities. We've struggled offensively pretty much the whole year, so I don't know if we're any better or worse today than we typically are. Yeah, we lack the movement at times. I know they did a nice job on Philly in the first half. I'm glad to see her come back in the second half and play much better, much harder. They're hard to score on, to be honest with you. And they tough matchup for us in a lot of ways. But, yeah, it's kind of been the same old. We've had, we didn't shoot well from the line, didn't shoot well from the three, didn't get a ton of really good looks from the three. And then, we struggle to finish at times. So that's kind of been the answer most of the season. This wasn't much different than a lot of the other games. Defensively, we were a little bit better after the initial, I don't know where we were early. They jumped on us the way they did. And then after that, we actually played some man tonight and disguised some things defensively. I thought we did some good things defensively, but, you hold them to 38% field goal percentage, which is pretty good, but then they get 20 offensive rebounds or 19, whatever, to the tune of, I don't know how many second chance points. A lot. 24. I mean, you're not going to beat a team when you have 46 points off turnovers and second chance points. It's been the, rinse and repeat. It's been our issue most of the year.
When it's effort to lose balls, 4 second chance rebounds, or rebounds in general, you feel like you still have the room that this effort is the best that can be done right now?
No, maybe. Well, no, it's never the best that can be done. But I don't. They're obviously a lot quicker to the ball too. Okay, so yeah, we could probably play a little bit tougher at times, but we're also playing. Grace played 40 minutes tonight, right? And so, and she still continues to play hard. So yeah, it's easy to sit there and say, we got out hustled. But the reality is they're quicker to balls, they're fresher, and those kids are averaging 20-some-odd minutes a game over a course of a season is a lot different than the minutes that our kids have had to log. So, and, they're just quicker at a lot of spots.
In the big picture, a lot of the advanced analytics on both ends are really rough for this season. How and why, from your perspective, has it gotten to this point? Analytically.
Yeah, a lot of reasons. I'm not going to go into everything. Today, I don't think this is the place. Yeah, we're just, I give our kids a ton of credit. I'm proud of them. This was a tough 7-game stretch. We're not as good as the teams that we've been playing. So would we like to have played a lot of them closer? Well, of course. Would we like to play better? Of course. Are we competing to win? Of course. But we're just not. We're not. So that's, we all we can do is learn from this, try to get better, bounce back, and I don't even know who we play first. One of the Washingtons, I'm not sure which, but that's all we can do. So I'm not going to sit here and analyze everything that's, for the whole year and why we're here and a lot of different things.
Priscilla had some really nice moments today. Can you talk about her?
Yeah, she had a really good first half, and it was nice to see. We need that. We need that kind of effort from her all the time. She's one of the kids that can match up athletically, lengthwise with these kind of teams.
You mentioned the tough stretch. The next two opponents you have are
winnable games, probably for you guys. What needs to be done just to kind of flush this losing streak and get a win over the last 4 games here?
Well, we're going to take an extra day off this week. I just think our kids need a little mental break as much as a physical break, especially those that are playing more. So we're not going to have our typical Monday. They're just going to ask them to come in and shoot and on their own with a coach. And then those that haven't played much, they're going to get an extra workout on their own tomorrow. Tuesday's always our day off, and we'll hit it hard on Wednesday. And for the first time in a long time, we're not playing somebody that's ranked in the top 10 or top 15 or wherever, Final Four kind of candidates. So, but Washington and Washington State are going to be very good. I mean, they're as hungry as we are. They're down in the standings where we are. So, I don't anticipate that it's teams we can win. I mean, I go into every game feeling we can win. Some games we have a smaller margin for error.
This losing streak is certainly the longest of your tenure, I imagine, of your career. If not maybe back to junior college or something, but as longest in the program, 30 years. You guys are paid.
Question?
I'm saying, you guys, it's a competitive sport. Are you concerned about your job security?
No.
You win basketball games?
No.
Why not?
We've had a pretty good run here. We're struggling this year. Everybody knows it. I don't think we've lost the kids. They're still playing hard. Their attitudes are good. They're working hard in practice. I don't worry about that. This has been, we're the ones that have set the bar here, and we haven't reached our own bar for sure. But the bar was set in the last 10 years.
And how do you get that bar back?
We're working our butts off to do it. It's going to take recruiting. It's going to take, work in the portal. I mean, we've been there and we can get back there. But I'm not taking anything away from that group that's out there busting their butt. Okay, it's not easy for them. I'm sure a lot of them have never been through a streak like this either. So.
But you feel like you have the resources here, you have the NIL capacity here, with the move to the Big Ten and recruiting, that there's nothing resource-wise, there's nobody who's turned off a faucet somewhere that's preventing you guys from.
No, we just got to do better as a coaching staff and the players that we have and continue to get better. Yeah. That's the first time that's ever been raised. So, yeah. If you want, I can give you a history lesson. It's been a pretty good run. It's just, we're not where we should be right now, where we want to be.
An honest take from Coach Graves, brought to you by White Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Some good games coming up. I'm telling you, I think the competition level has been really high. We know that. But now going on the road to Seattle, looking forward to that game on Friday for Oregon women's basketball. When we come back, baseball opening weekend, looking at some good box score notes. 2-1 to start the season. That's a series win. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You took the first step and quit smoking. But even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Opening weekend for Duck Baseball. They were in Arlington, and we'll go through the weekend a bit for you. A good Game 1 win over Oklahoma. Got to see R.J. Gordon back on the hill. That was awesome to see. Ducks won 4-2. They got up 2-0 before a decisive 8th inning broke a 2-2 tie. Michael Friend, his first appearance as a Duck, his first appearance of the weekend. He looked good. I thought Grayson Grinsell out of the pen picked up exactly where he left off. R.J. Gordon as the starter. Great to see him back out there after an injury. And it was sort of the beginning of one of my themes of the weekend, of the transfers on offense and the new bullpen arms for the Ducks. So far, so good. Ducks won 4-2 over Oklahoma. Then they played a pretty good Baylor team in Game 2. It was bright and early for the Ducks, and they actually got down 4-0 to Baylor in Texas before coming back to tie it at 4. The Ducks in the middle innings were really good. Scored all 7 runs in the middle innings, and it was actually Logan Mercado who got the save. So Logan Mercado, a guy who's been a reliever, he's been a starter, was a back-end bullpen guy, relieved another new face in Bradley Mullen after another new face in Kevin Sider started the game. I'll tell you, I thought the pitching got better as the game went on. Ducks won 7-4. Then against a top 25 ranked Texas Tech team, the Ducks had to go to a couple different arms out of the bullpen. And Turner Spoljaric, he got the start. The Ducks had not announced who they were going to start on Sunday heading into the weekend, but Turner Spoljaric, who really came on strong. Turner Spoljaric's a huge reason that Oregon won the Pac-12 tournament last year. The Ducks had lost, 8 of their last 9 heading into that series in Salt Lake City. And then Turner Spoljaric got the ball, won the game. Ducks ended up going on a winning streak all the way through the Pac-12 tournament, all the way through the regional, then made it to the Super Regionals, got down 8-0, came back, won that game 9-8, and then unfortunately it just ran out of juice at the end. At least that's how it felt last season. But they lost 11-7 to Texas Tech. And Texas Tech's a top 25 team. The Ducks actually scored 4 runs in the 5th to make things interesting. It was 6-4 at the time. Texas Tech, though, got 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. Felt like Red Raiders had a little bit more juice in the tank at the end. But how about these hit totals? Ducks had 16 hits. Texas Tech had 13. The offense is there. I thought that Oregon's start to the season, even though the bullpen toward the end, the Ducks did give up some runs when obviously they would prefer not to. But I thought that the transfers and the new additions to this team were really the story of the weekend. So Jeffrey Hurd hit 500 to open the season. In 3 games, he reached base 3 times in each of those games. He went 6 for 12, had 3 doubles, 2 RBI, 9 total bases. He slugged .750. When you start a season with a 1288 OPS, you're doing something right. That's what Jeffrey Hurd did. Bryce Betcher, he started 2 games, played in all 3, ended up hitting 500, was 3 for 6. I thought Drew Smith was solid. First time we saw him as the leadoff hitter. Drew Smith was the leadoff guy. Bennett Thompson hit 385 on the weekend. And then Justin Casella, the average is 222. But he was 2 for 9. And I'll tell you, I thought that he was clutch, though, when he needed to be. And he also walked 3 times. That's sort of the MO on Casella. He walked 3 times. Would like to cut those 4 strikeouts down. But really, I felt like as the weekend went on, we saw the impact of the transfers in a lot of different ways. And then Ryan Cooney, he had 1 hit. It was a clutch hit. Love to see that from a young guy in Ryan Cooney. A lot more to break down throughout the week with Duck Baseball. The home opener is coming up on Friday. When we return, the rest of the weekend for Oregon Athletics. Wrapping it up, a lot going on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you is.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Wrapping up Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Reviewing the weekend in our Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Duck softball dropped a couple tough ones on Friday despite some stellar pitching. Saturday, all about shutouts for the Ducks. 2 wins, and then against a ranked Texas A&M team on Sunday. Number 17 Oregon's pitching was stellar, but the Ducks dropped a 2-0 decision to Texas A&M, their final game of their tournament in San Diego. Knight was there on the call. 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position.
That was the story.
That's not going to continue. I'm just going to say that felt like an oddity to me. Over the 5-game tournament, Duck pitchers, 1.31 ERA. That's pretty good. Men's tennis, a couple wins at the Student Tennis Center. Some high drama against Nebraska, former Big Ten opponent. 2 wins for women's tennis. Women's lacrosse is still undefeated. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill on a Monday. Tuesday show coming your way tomorrow.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer.